The Cleveland Browns lost by a painful 17-16 to the Cincinnati Bengals. But the real story isn't just the score, it's how it happened. And, Browns fans, this one will hurt, because we've seen this script before. Once again, the disappointing special teams and offensive mistakes took center stage, overshadowing a courageous performance by a defense that deserved better. Now, if you're as disappointed as I am, hit the like button and leave a comment with your thoughts on what urgently needs to be done about this team. Let's start with kicker Andre Szmyt, the rookie who was handed the full-time job after the Browns parted ways with Dustin Hopkins. Szmyt looked solid early, even drilling a 45-yarder that gave us a glimmer of hope. But when it mattered most, when the game was in the balance, Szmyt missed a 36-yard field goal, essentially a chip shot in NFL terms. He also missed a critical extra point earlier in the game. That's 4 points left on the board in a 1-point loss. Do the math. This isn't a new problem. Browns fans have been through this too many times. Kicker issues are not a one-off in Cleveland, they're a pattern. The margin of error in the NFL is razor thin, especially in a loaded division like the AFC North. Games are decided by field goals and PATs more often than we'd like to admit. So when Szmyt left 4 points on the table, that wasn't just a bad game. That was the game. And while head coach Kevin Stefanski says he's not there yet in terms of creating a kicking competition, maybe it's time he got there. Szmyt himself admitted after the game that he rushed his approach and pushed the ball. You respect the accountability, but this is the NFL. This isn't a development league. You don't get many do-overs. And when Myles Garrett gives you the ball back after sacking Joe Burrow on consecutive plays, you simply cannot come away with 0 points. Speaking of Garrett, he was a monster. This man was living in the Bengals' backfield, especially in the fourth quarter. He dominated when it mattered most, doing everything he could to drag the Browns across the finish line. And yet, here we are. Garrett even defended Szmyt post-game, saying the team shouldn't have been in that position to begin with. Respect to him for backing his teammate, but let's be honest, Garrett did his job. The rest of the team didn't. The defense overall was lights out in the second half. After giving up a touchdown on the opening drive, they locked it down. The Bengals didn't score a single touchdown after halftime. In fact, Cincinnati had just 7 total offensive yards in the second half. 7. That's not a typo. This defense gave Joe Burrow and Ja'Marr Chase nightmares, just 113 total passing yards allowed, and Chase only managed 2 catches. Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome too played like elite corners, shadowing Chase and erasing one of the league's best weapons. So how do you lose a game where your defense holds one of the NFL's top offenses to 17 points and barely over 100 passing yards? Simple. Offense failed to close. The Browns were shut out in the fourth quarter. They had 4 straight drives after taking a 16-14 lead where they could have put the game away. Instead, this is what they did: interception, turnover on downs, punt, missed field goal, and one final desperation drive that ended with another pick. Let's talk Joe Flacco. He threw 45 times. The 40-year-old vet went 31 of 45 for 290 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Not a perfect performance, but certainly not the main reason the Browns lost. That TD pass to Cedric Tillman? Perfect anticipation and touch. Flacco's first pick was deflected off Jerry Jeudy's hands. It was a little low, yes, but catchable. The second pick, though? That one's on Tillman. Hit him in the chest, bounced up, and the Bengals sealed the game. Flacco wasn't the problem. His stats don't tell the whole story. His chemistry with some of the receivers, especially the veterans, still needs work. Jeudy had multiple drops. Flacco was delivering, but his guys weren't finishing. It's clear he's more comfortable with rookies like Sampson and Harold Fannin Jr. at this point. That's not sustainable. The veterans need to step up. You can't ask a 40-year-old backup quarterback to win games by himself in Week 1. That fourth quarter was where the game slipped through Cleveland's fingers. After Flacco hit Jeudy with a perfect ball on 4th and 5, and Jeudy dropped it, you could feel the air leave the stadium. That was a dagger. Then came the field goal miss. Then another pick. It was an avalanche of missed chances. You sack Burrow 3 times on one drive and come away with nothing? That's not just bad luck. That's bad execution. What hurts the most is this game was so winnable. Probably 8 or 9 times out of 10, the Browns win this game if they just capitalize on one of those defensive stops. Just one. Instead, they left opportunity after opportunity on the table. The Browns had every reason to win, and they just didn't. That's why this one stings so much. So now the question becomes, what do you do about Andre Szmyt? Do you keep him and hope he grows? Or do you bring in another kicker to compete and make sure this doesn't happen again? Browns fans, what do you think? What should the Browns do about the kicker situation after this heartbreaking loss to Cincinnati? Because this can't be the story of the 2025 Browns. Not again. Not another year where the defense carries the team on its back, only to be let down by missed kicks and stalled drives. This isn't 2022. This isn't 2020. This team has too much talent, too much heart to be sabotaged by the same old script. The frustrating part is that there's real promise here. Joe Flacco, say what you want about his age, showed poise, control, and leadership. He made throws under pressure, kept drives alive, and made the Bengals' defense work. He doesn't have to be elite. He just needs help. When he puts a ball on a veteran receiver's chest on 4th down in crunch time, that pass must be caught. When he drives the team into field goal range after 3 monster sacks by Garrett, that kick must go through the uprights. And that's why the Browns' path forward has to start with accountability. The locker room seems unified, and that's good. Garrett defending Szmyt shows leadership. But the front office can't operate on vibes alone. If there's no kicking competition by midweek, it sends a message: missed opportunities don't matter. That's not the tone you want for a team that just watched their best unit, this defense, play lights out and still walk away empty-handed. Defensively, this game was as close to dominant as you can get without a win. 7 yards allowed and a half to Joe Burrow and Ja'Marr Chase? That's elite. That's championship caliber. And it's why Browns fans are so gutted by this loss. Because it wasn't a blowout. It wasn't one team just being better. It was Cleveland beating Cleveland. Receivers dropping passes. A kicker melting under pressure. An offense sputtering when it mattered most. That's what cost them this game, not the opponent. So now the pressure's on. The coaching staff has to be proactive. The front office has to bring in a second kicker. And the offense has to get real about its inconsistencies. Whether it's developing more chemistry with Flacco or reevaluating the receiver rotation, something has to shift. The defense is doing everything right. The rest of the team has to catch up. The positive here, and yes, there is one, is that the mistakes are fixable. This wasn't about talent. This was about execution. About capitalizing in big moments. About doing the simple things right. And if the Browns can clean that up, they've got the foundation of a playoff team. But if they don't, if we're still having the same conversation 3 weeks from now, then it's going to be another long, painful season where what could have been becomes the headline. And that's why this moment matters. Not because it's week 1. Not because it's just a 1-point loss. But because it's a crossroads. The Browns can learn from this, grow from this, and respond like contenders. Or they can let the same old ghosts drag them down again. So, Browns fans, what's your call? Should Andre Szmyt get another chance, or is it time to bring in competition now and stop the bleeding before it starts? Let me know your take in the comments. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to the channel to always stay well informed. Go Browns!